I got an issue with why. I wonder why if you ever watched the video, and we didn't show the video for a particular reason.
We're not.
I wanted to watch it so I can get a clear understanding. I
course.
feel like I can't talk about something if I don't see it. So I know a lot of people out there are saying protect your peace. You don't have to watch the video. So I didn't feel like I had to watch it, but I did feel like if I'm going to speak on it, then I need to watch the video. And I think when there's this line that we cross when we have people voicing their opinions about a particular situation and we haven't watched the video or seen the evidence or whatnot. I get it, he died, but at the same time, I'm a more factual person, meaning that if I'm going to speak on something, I need to at least see it.
And so, and that makes me bring up another question then. For the people who did watch, some watched for a couple of minutes, some watched all the way through. But there was a part in the video after he had already been sat down and laid up against the car. Basically, when he was... Anywho, they said, man, he must have been high, man. What is he on? He got to be high. Man, we hit him with that taser. Man, he got out of there and boom, and took off. Yeah. Then, man, they kind of stopped to not say what they really were doing out loud on camera, even though, like, dude, we're literally seeing what you already did, so you might as well speak on it. Dude talking about, man, my knee been messed up all day. Yeah. I still was on it, though, man. I was like, dude, y'all talking about this like
they street dudes.
Yes.
Hey, bro.
Like, yeah, for real. Hey, man.
Hey, bro.
It was man.
I hit this dude hard as hell, you know? But you know what was real disgusting about the video when they were like, they had the guy up. His hands behind his back. I don't know if he was in handcuffs, but they had him restrained. Yeah. And then the big dude.
You talking about the first encounter? The first time, the first part of the video?
When they were in front of the street cam. Okay. They got the dude, Tyre, Mr. Nichols, stood up. They got him up off the ground. And then that's when that guy was just taking, he was going full swing. He was swinging so hard, he was losing his balance. And then it was like, hold him up again. Then it's like, just going at him.
And then remember when he dropped after that, that's when the other guy came with what people call a baton, but in the real world, military world, cop world, whatever, it's called an ASP, A-S-P, the extended. And
I know what it is. Yeah.
You know what it is, but I'm just trying to, for some of the viewers who may not know what it is, it breaks collarbones, it breaks kneecaps, it breaks elbows, it breaks everything. It hurts. So it can leave permanent damage. And that's what he got hit with, 3 times with that.
Yeah.
Right there, which was used as a weapon. Yeah. Pretty much. It wasn't a deterrent from protecting yourself because you're a police officer. Yeah. No, you used it in physical force towards a defenseless young man.
And I'm trying to figure out. So you telling me 5 big dudes?
Big dudes.
You telling me
older dudes too?
Y'all complaint was when he kept saying, "Give me your hands, give me your hands," that you could not restrain this dude. I don't care what you thought he was on. He can't be that strong. No. But then y'all picked him up and then took him back to the ground again. Y'all already had several opportunities to go ahead and restrain this dude and just go ahead and put him in handcuffs. But like I said, that beating was personal.
It seemed very.
It was personal. And
because me and you both, we've seen some things in our lives to know the difference between police brutality, extra force by the police, and street justice. Yeah. We know the difference. In my years, I'm just saying personally, everyone is going to have their opinion on this whole topic, but personally, I feel like from my 2 eyes, what I saw was street justice. Yeah. This was not.
Well, it's street justice, but what I want to look into is the unit that they're a part of is called the Scorpion Unit. Right. But I want to see how this relates as far as these other task force around the country that kind of terrorize those communities. Right. Now, I'm going to touch on something, that might be a little touchy, but or argumentative for some people. But there was another task force in Baltimore that was called the GTTF.
Yes, sir.
And, it was filled with corruption. It had the same agenda. It was for taking the guns off the street, dope out the street.
Drug money.
High crime areas.
Yes.
And we already know Baltimore, they had a high crime area. They had some issues. So I get it. So at one point, it's like, I understand why these task forces are created. You got to do something to better the community or pipe the community down.
Right.
Like, dude, we got too many murders, too much dope on the street.
You have to find a way to clean it up.
Right. But
somehow.
then it seemed like these task force units always end up eventually being corrupt.
Right.
Especially when you're dealing with dope boys. And it's in the simple fact that, well, if I robbed a dude, it's not like he's going to go tell on me that he just took a key off of me or whatever, you know, or when they do these seizures and busts, I mean, we just busted a house with $80K in it.
But think about this.
What is it going to be if I just sit there and take $20K off of it, you know?
But think about this, though. Your undercover officers that are out there, some of them get caught up, but some of them actually have to make connections with people. And I think, is it because the training's not good enough to teach the officers not to fall into the trap of, you know what, he's actually a good guy, even though he just sold 20 keys, you understand what I'm saying, to whoever, and you see babies and people and stuff like that on the corners dying.
Yeah.
You know, goes back to that, but
I don't know. I think I have never been an undercover or anything, so I don't know what it feels like, but I feel like that you can get lost.
Yeah.
Trying to pretend to be someone else, getting lost in a life and a culture like that. You know, I do feel that might be a difficult task, and I do think that is one aspect of how these organizations and how these task force end up being corrupt.
Right, because do you think they have to have that link with the streets? Think about it. If they want to learn and know where the crime is going on, they have to be able to know somebody who can tell them where the crime is going to be occurring.
Well, they got to blend in and be in the street,
right.
You know. But like I say, man, we already know money. When it comes to that money, when it comes to that green, it ain't hard to become crooked.
Just like you were talking about the situation in Baltimore. It came down to that dough.
He started out as a good cop.
Yep.
And then it came, and once they saw how much money they were getting extra off the street, and I can steal a package and put it back out on the street and sell it myself and make some more money. Like, and then I'm not getting caught. Nobody ain't looking at me.
And
I mean, come on, you robbing criminals, like,
right? But you link up with an old criminal at the same time too. That's helping you with the part of the game because you still the police on the other side. So I'm just saying that kind of ties in, and I can see how that would be the same story because, like you said earlier, more is going to be coming out. Yeah, more people are going to be going down. I do believe that.
It's almost like my favorite TV series of all time. Go ahead and tell you that. The Wire. Now, Omar wasn't a cop, but it's almost a perfect profession. He robbing dope boys.
Yep.
They're not going to tell and say, hey, man, this dude I got to file a report.
Because he was regulating the streets, bro.
I got to file a report, man. He just took 30 vials off me. Yeah. You know, they're not going to do that.
Nope.
So, I don't know. That's just something I want to kind of just dive into to compare and to see that if this is an issue all across the country in certain crime-ridden communities where they build these task forces, but these task forces are all crooked, you know. But at the same time, it's what can you do? Because it's like you can't just sit there and just let individuals just destroy a community, especially if you're trying to protect the community. Right. You know, so it's like, it's one of those touch and go things. Like you don't know how to figure it out. And also, I guess it's all about finding the right people because these officers that got locked up, they like some regular dudes that they.
That's what I was about to say. And you know, just to touch on the point you were just making, throughout the nation, you don't know what's going on, what these task forces are made of throughout the country. Think about how protests happened this week throughout the country, and it made me think just by you saying that. Maybe it's because people in those communities that a lot of people in the world and a lot of other people don't see, they also know those task forces exist. They also know, hey, it ain't just in Memphis. I know 5-6 brothers that's doing the same thing over here in Albuquerque. Or I know 5-6, you understand what I'm saying? People are probably tired of seeing this because it's actually happening and it's a discussion that if you want to take it all the way back to NWA when Ice Cube, the main thing he was always talking about was, I can't believe it's the black cops that's the hardest ones on us. It's like, bruh, when I see you, I should feel more comfortable. But the thing is now, it's like, he might get me worse because it's almost like they're trying to prove something to their non-brown, non-black counterpart. You understand what I'm saying? And like, hey man, I'm in the club. I fit in.
Yeah. Well, I say the same thing.
This is a gang.
I say that same thing even just as a citizen. It's like I was telling a couple of buddies of mine that I know that I used to work with, and they used to always be talking about, scared to go to Macon or whatever, or a couple other cities. Like, what you scared for? I'm the one that should be scared because the retaliation, even though they don't even know me, the percentage of me getting robbed or shot or checked is less likely going to be on me versus you. I said, name any white boys or white murders or white criminals that have been committed by any of these gangs or these dealings in Macon. It's black on black. Like, what you scared for? You safe, actually.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's not safe.
Yeah. And that's sad.
Yeah, it's sad. So it goes both ways when you make that point about black cops, but like, I'm sad as the black cops. That's one that's really giving me the hardest times versus I feel the same way sometimes about certain communities when you go into them. Like, I feel bad that person that look like me that's supposed to be my brother is one that might
harass me
or check me. Like, hey man, what you
know what I'm saying?
Hey, what up, blood?
Check me just because I don't look like, oh man, where you from?
Yeah, I remember I went to the Macon Mall right before the Macon Mall.
Down the street.
When the Macon Mall first started getting bad or whatever. You know me. I'm from the north side. You know what I'm saying? So I always got on, I wear a lot of blue. It's my favorite color, And when I was walking around or whatever, somebody checked me one time, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, I can't even walk in the mall. Like,
right.
I have no gang affiliation. I don't even think I look like I'm even in the mix.
No,
I was just shopping.
How long ago was this? 10 years, 12?
No, longer than that, man.
Wow.
This was like I say, this was when the mall, I wouldn't say thriving, but this is when people were still going.
Right. When the carousel was still working.
Yeah, before they single-handedly shut the whole mall down.
You can still go and get that bourbon chicken at the little spot over there. You know what I'm talking about, man.
What is it? Sabari?
Man, yes.
Sabario? Yeah.
Hey, man.
But
Macon Mall used to be that jump off back in the day.
But also, moving on to another idiot that's also in the news pertaining to this situation was Jason Whitlock. His statement on Fox News interview with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Basically saying, I'm going to go ahead and just say it in a nutshell.
Just say it straight out.
Basically blaming black women for the reason.
The root of the problem.
Well,
of why black men are killing other black men.
Well, he said the root of the problem of the reason why Tyre Nichols died.
Yeah. Basically. Because a black woman is in charge of the police force, and that throughout the years, which I guess we just created on our own.
Yeah.
I'll let you touch on that. The black women have raised all these single black men that are killing each other for all these years and decades. Who started that though, BK? Who got us into that situation?
Yeah.
You've broken this down for people before, probably on one of our audio versions. Break down Project for them. Just go ahead and give them a touch of that, what you talked about, how the whole system works from the jump.
Well, I'll get on that in a minute, but let's talk about what he said first.
Okay.
So the fact that he says that blaming first, that's just disgusting.
Right.
To sit there and this time watching these cops, if you've seen the video, like that has nothing to do with black single moms.
Right.
That has to do with 5 ignorant cops that have some type of personal beef with this dude.
And too much power.
Yeah. So, but one of his statements, I did say in a post that, okay, that was a decent point. It could be argued.
Right.
And the point was that there is, when we're stepping out of the Tyre Nichols situation and just talking about the black community, there is probably an issue in this younger generation with how young black men have relationships.
Right.
When I'm talking about relationships, I'm just talking about coexisting together in the same community or whatnot. So yeah, there is, I feel, a problem with that. But a lot of people can go ahead and relate that to, well, anytime you got us in a box or we live in the same community, you're gonna have issues or whatever. I get that, but I still will say though that our issue is just still a little bit more prevalent than others. You know?
Well, maybe it's because also we wake up every morning with PTSD.
Yeah.
As a community. I mean, we're probably the only community. Hell, I'm maybe not the only one, but I know personally, and from what I've heard growing up, we're the only ones who wake up. We don't have to go seek out adventure. Mm-hmm. You know what my adventure is throughout the whole day? I made it back home. Yeah. I woke up, I walked out my house as a black man and walked back in my house as a black man, alive.
Yeah.
I don't need to go skydiving, bungee jumping, skate. I don't need to do no extra adrenaline activity to get my rocks off or get my kicks on. Guess what? My anxiety runs high all day, every day.
Yeah. You're right. That is a trigger. Let me ask you this question, though. Stepping outside of Tyre Nichols. Mm-hmm. At what point, or if at any at all, do you feel that we as black men should have some type of accountability?
Just during that situation?
I just said step outside of Tyre Nichols' situation. Now I'm talking about in general, basing it off of Jason Whitlock's statement. The first statement, not the baby mama and all that, whatever statement, but his first statement that he made referring to that, okay, yeah, we do have there's an issue with relationships between young black men or whatever. So like, do we feel like, you know, us as old heads, as some people call it, or whatever, have we lacked in the mentoring that was provided for that generation? Because we were able to get that. Now I'm not going to be biased or say that everybody was able to receive that or have that privilege, but we was privileged enough to be surrounded by a community, surrounded by a village, to have that kind of mentoring to say, you know what, I got somebody to check me when I'm falling short or mess me up. But do you feel that all that has kind of been erased, and what accountability should we be having though as older or younger black men in the community? Like, I don't want it all to be saying that, okay, I don't know, I just think it's a cop-out sometimes. We have our issues with systemic racism.
Of course.
And it's a long line of things that I feel that are the original reason for why all this is so effed up. But at what point do you say, this is a question, this is just me playing devil's advocate. Mm-hmm. At what point do you say, despite that, where does our accountability lie?
Okay. This is my spiel back on trying to remember everything that you just said.
I know I said a lot.
First of all, the relationship aspect is, like you said, we're old heads or whatnot.
I ain't an old head though. I was just saying.
Well, you look like an old head. I don't know. But anyways, I had to do that for a friend of mine. But so we had friendships growing up. We really had friendships. Like, people that we know have real legit friends from the jump and always have. Yeah. And we knew how to handle relationships because we all went through stuff. I'm telling you, some of our friendships have been tested. I mean, to the top and the bottom. You understand what I'm saying? But like you said, to touch back on that, we were raised right. We were taught. We did have a village, a big village. Mm-hmm. And we had a lot of people that would check you. This is what the problem is now. Nobody wants to check anybody anymore because guess what the problem is? These kids don't want to listen to nothing. They'll kill you. If you try and check, they'll kill you.
I think there's a parental aspect to that as well, because it's like you can't say nothing to nobody's kid no more.
Thank you. Nobody can discipline anybody. I remember, when I was bad, when I was young, I used to have a mouth.
You get checked by anybody.
I used to get paddling by Clark Kent at Warner Robins Christian Academy. Shout out WRCA. Then I get another woman by my godmama, because she just happened to find out information before that. And then guess what? Depending on who comes home, mom, dad, pops, somebody getting me next.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it was. Everybody checked everybody. Anybody's mama or anybody's daddy, You could be at the mall. It's happened to us 100 times. Oh, I see what y'all doing. You know how it was. They used to love to talk about what we were doing. But that's how it was. But also, to answer more of your question about what it really comes down to and why we can't get to the root of the problem and why we can't better this whole system and why we just can't get together and try and help one another. No one, even though we're on this podcast and we're trying to give y'all positive information as much as possible, no one wants to hear it. They only want ratchetness. They only want negativity because it's been pumped and pushed into our psyche so much and into our culture that they've made us used to seeing that and saying, hey, if this isn't going on in the world, something's not right.
Yeah.
We can't see peace on the television every day. What do we turn on the news channel and the news said? There's no news to report. No deaths happen anywhere in the world. Everything is fine. It's sunny throughout the whole world. Mm-hmm. Not a cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
Everyone enjoy your day. It would be madness. I'm serious.
I gotta find some shit to start.
Exactly. Because we're we're indoctrinated into this world and this culture of if everything ain't going left, then when it starts going right, shit ain't right.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. And that answers your question right there. Why can't we get down to the problem? Because that's what the problem is. No one wants to fix the problem. Of course, we got brothers out here all on the streets, Chicago, New York, Atlanta, San Francisco, California. It doesn't matter. They everywhere trying to preach the message and trying to help just like we trying to do, just like the same question you asking. What is the problem? What can we do? No one wants to listen.
Yeah.
From West Coast to East Coast, from North to South, it don't matter.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. That's bottom line.
Yeah. And but is the point that you made is oversaturation.
Yeah.
Oversaturation of BS. So it's kind of like when we were doing music or whatnot, and certain genres were coming in, mm-hmm. and it was just being oversaturated on the radio or whatnot. It's like that's how it becomes a thing. You sit there and do the same thing to somebody every single day, which in this point, I'm talking about music. Mm-hmm. You sit there and play the same song every day, whether it's trap music or dope boy music or whatever, you sit there and play it every day. Now, at the beginning, the song might sound stupid.
Right.
But then now you sitting there just oversaturating it, playing it every day. And it's kind of, and then you kind of realize like, you know what? That's my jam. I kind of like that song.
You know the worst song that got me, and I feel ashamed to even say it now? That Future song. Dun, 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 dun. Dude, when I was like, this is just despicable. How can you put this on? I can't believe my people that we've turned it as my culture. What is happening to it? Man, about 2 weeks later. Duh.
Yeah, I was like that with the Perk song. When he came out with that person,
the Molly
Perk song. I was like, man, this is.
And then when they had the Instagram video with the dude conducting the orchestra and stuff, I was like, man, it's just they're going too far. Dude.
I was like, when I first heard it, I was like, man, this is the problem with our community. I was like, just keep making this bullshit.
Then we got hype.
You know what I'm saying? And then about a month later, I kept hearing it over and over, and I was like, turn that. That'd be hard. Yeah, that music. That be thumping, boy. So back to Tyre Nichols, though. I am curious to see how far this is going to go as far as, the corruption.
Right.
If they start unfolding the Scorpion unit. Mm-hmm. But back to Jason Whitlock, I felt like to blame the chief of police because she's a black woman.
Right.
That this is the problem.
Basically
because let me finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So the fact that she's, they were blaming it on her. But I felt like out of all the situations that we've seen, man, this was done swiftly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, you got people saying, oh, man, we ain't never seen like the white cops, get moved this fast on or releasing why they released the video so fast or why they got fired so fast. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. They killed that dude.
Yeah.
That's the way it's supposed to be. Maybe this will set the tone on how police discipline and how a police department maybe should be ran in the future. So give the black woman a shout out for handling her business because she said she evaluated the tape. They didn't need to sit there and pontificate on this on the news and well, we're still reviewing the tape. No, she said she looked at it and said, "This is disgusting." Yeah. Fired. You fired. Yeah. And maybe you fired. Yeah. We got to get back with you.
And we're gonna come back for some more. Y'all.
We coming back for some more. So I mean, get that lady a shout out. You know. Yeah. But yeah. So. I don't know. I feel like we got to bring some people in. I feel like we can't have this discussion without inviting some black women in to get their view and their opinion on what do they think about that statement. But we'll just dive deeper into the actual issue that's not the first time that's been said. No. You know, they've been blaming the black community on black women, which I feel like black women are actually, for me, the number one thrivers right now in our country.
They roasted Chicago mayor all the time. Oh, she just can't. It's like you can't stop people that just want to just keep